My name is Cheni Usman, and welcome to my Ontario Energy Board proposal for a renewable future. To begin with the driving question this presentation seeks to answer: how might Ontario meet its energy requirements for the year 2030 in a way that is both economically feasible and environmentally sustainable? The current Ontario energy profile shows that nuclear power is responsible for 53% of all energy output in Ontario, with renewable energies being approximately 34% of the output. Mostly hydro is responsible for this, being 25% of all energy output. Fossil fuels is responsible for the rest of the energy output for Ontario, being 13% between gas and oil. My goal is to significantly decrease the amount of energy that nuclear power is responsible for, and instead using this to invest in wind, solar, and hydropower for Ontario's energy. Now I am going to be listing the different reasons for this, beginning with hydroelectricity. To begin, hydroelectric power is a renewable energy source that produces electricity from moving water. This is done through the use of a dam that converts the potential energy stored in a water reservoir to mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is then used to spin a turbine which converts it into electricity. After that, this electricity is then able to go through different transmission processes to power people's houses. Some of the benefits of using hydroelectricity include that it is a much more reliable energy source than wind or solar, as it is not reliant on any weather conditions to be useful. It is also able to adjust its power output to meet demands by changing the elevation of the rushing water to either increase the amount of energy output or decrease it. It also has low operating costs after its initial heavy investment. Some risks of hydroelectricity include that it can be harmful to different ecosystems in the river area. It can displace indigenous people that may use the rivers to sustain themselves. And if the dams are damaged, reservoirs have the risk of flooding nearby areas. On to my second point of solar energy. Solar energy occurs when the sun shines onto a solar panel. The energy from the sunlight is absorbed by the cells inside of the solar panel, and this creates electrical charges that move through an electrical field in the cell, which allows the electricity to flow. This is then able to be powered into transmission lines, which can power people's houses. Along with this, the electricity from this can also be stored in a battery that can be used to power the house when sunlight is not present. Some of the benefits of solar energy are that, similar to hydroelectricity, it has a low maintenance cost after its initial construction. It has zero greenhouse gas emissions, as do all of these energy sources. And it has no sound pollution, which is much more preferable to wind power. Risks are that solar energy relies on sunlight, and as I've said before, if an area is not able to have an appropriate amount of sunlight, this method will not be able to generate a meaningful amount of energy. Solar energy farms also need to occupy large amounts of land, which may disrupt ecosystems and lead to disputes over the land. Also, recycling old solar panels is a very costly thing. Now, on to wind power. Wind power is um, created by using wind that rotates rotor blades, which converts the kinetic energy into rotational energy. This is then transferred by a shaft and then to a generator, which finally produces electrical energy which can power houses. The benefits of wind power are that it has low operating costs once again, and that after installation, maintenance fees are low, and it can, in counterpart to its solar energy, it can coexist with other land occupants such as agriculture. Some risks are that large initial investment for construction and land, and that noise pollution possibly disturbing nearby residences can be a disturbance. Also, similar to solar power, it has very reliance on the weather in the area being windy, and this can lead to it being unpredictable. Comparing all of the different efficiencies of these three renewable energy sources, you can see that hydroelectricity is the most efficient of all three, which is why I've put the most focus into developing hydroelectricity. And then you can see energy follows it with 30% efficiency, and solar energy lasts with approximately 20% efficiency. My plan is to replace the use of nuclear energy mainly with hydropower. For example, one of these could be by instead of refurbishing the Pickering power plant, it could be transformed into a dam that can produce hydroelectricity. Dams can also be built in northern water bodies, and we should also invest in solar and wind energy technology in the north as well to create a balanced energy output. Also, more transmission lines must be created in the north to spread accessibility of these power sources for all. The implications of doing this would be there would be a massive upfront cost to build this new infrastructure, and there would be a high initial cost to build these new power lines in the north. However, in the long term, this would be a much more economically sustainable option as the maintenance fees for all of these energy sources are lower than the current methods of maintenance. The result of doing this would meet three of our sustainable development goals. Seven, it would create affordable and clean energy for Ontario. It would create sustainable cities and communities, and it would be a step into climate action as none of these energy sources produce greenhouse gases. Thank you for watching my presentation.